In on the final day of the 60-day legislative session, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Let's jump into it. This is Talkline live from the state capitol. We're underway.
Do not attempt to change the station. You are surrounded. We interrupt this program to bring you an emergency news bulletin. Repeat, this is an emergency bulletin. Keep your radio turned on.
From the studios of WVRC Media and the MetroNews Radio and Television Network, the voice of West Virginia, comes the most powerful show in West Virginia. This is MetroNews Talkline with Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows.
Check set lineup link. Activated telephone. Switch network control from Charleston to Morgantown.
Stand by. Q Dave and TJ. You're on. MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Good morning. Welcome to the AARP broadcast location, Upper Rotunda of the West Virginia State Capitol. Dave and TJ with you on set. Sophia Wasik is handling the audio side of things, keeping our great radio affiliates across the state of West Virginia up and running. Stephanie Pauley handling the video stream, and Jake Link is back at the command center in Morgantown. Coming up on the show today, Amy Grady will stop by. The Senate Education Committee Chair Stephen Allen Adams will join us. We'll talk about a couple of bills that were moving on the House side and a couple of bills that did not move, and a couple of bills that got amended with a couple of other bills. It's what happens the last week of the session. We'll get into that. Brad McElhinny is covering House Finance this morning, where they are scheduled to take up the governor's proposed tax cut in that committee this morning. Good morning, TJ. Lots happening here. As kind of feels like crossover day part 2 with the deadlines looming.
Well, you know, as you run short on time, as with most things in life, there becomes a greater sense of urgency. It escalates activity, and that's what we're seeing here. It's part of the fun.
That's like when you're a senior in high school and you've put off that assignment until it's absolutely due. Joining us here at the ARP broadcast location, Hancock County, Hancock or Brooke? You're Brooke County. Brooke County, sorry. Brooke County, you are my senator, though. Brooke County Senator Ryan Weld joining us. Let's jump into this E-Verify bill. We talked about it, TJ, when it was over on the House side. Could add a lot of restrictions, regulations that make it very difficult on small businesses. This got taken up in Senate Judiciary Committee yesterday. They spent almost 2 hours debating it, and Ryan, during that debate, there were several concerns brought to light by senators in the committee. What were your concerns with this bill?
Well, reading through it, the bill, it was a floor amendment over in the House, and it was crafted not very well. It was circular in many places. It didn't follow through on what it was proposing to do. I mean, there were just a lot of bill drafting issues with it, a lot of errors, a lot of conflicts within itself. And so that was kind of my back and forth with counsel. A lot of people really hammered at the policy that it was trying to get to. I was just trying to really bring focus to that if something like this would be put into law, there would be a lot of confusion for businesses across West Virginia.
Do you see it as anti-business? There's about 20 or so organizations that represent different business entities that are very much against this bill. Do you agree with that assertion?
I think that as it's written, if I were a business, I wouldn't be for it, again, because of the confusion. There's a lot of mandatory things that are in there and a lot of consequences that if you don't follow all of the provisions of the bill, I mean, it carries major consequences and fines for your business. And so I wouldn't be for it in its current state whatsoever.
So the intent of this bill is for all businesses to use the E-Verify system to verify somebody's status in the country. Mm-hmm. The intent, I get the intent, Ryan, but then as you started to drill down on it, and Senator Tarr raised some questions as well, the bill with the vagueness, you could be a business and you could be doing everything right and accidentally get yourself into massive fines if this bill were to become law the way it is written currently.
Yep. I don't think you're going to find a senator within our body that says you should be allowed to hire illegal immigrants.
But you can't anyway, right?
Yeah. I mean, and so that you have the current I-9 process. This brings in the federal system. It's not a federal requirement, but it's a federal system that's available. So I don't think you're going to find anybody that is against that proposition. But the devil is in the details. Yeah. How do you get there? How do you make that happen? And this bill doesn't do that. This bill muddies the waters. Labor and employment law is a very confusing area of the law. It's not an area that I practice in. But reading through that, I mean, if I had a client that was a business, I mean, it would be difficult on how to advise them properly on how to adhere to that, as well as other requirements that we have set forth in code.
Talking about the role of the federal government, the I-9, if it's a federal process, does the state of West Virginia even need to be involved?
So that's a good policy question. And, there are a couple of states, I think it's only like 6 or 7, that have made E-Verify a requirement. Other than that, there are some where it's permissive, and then some just haven't adopted it at all. There is a difference between the current I-9 verification process and the E-Verify. This bill is purported to be kind of a shield that if you submit your new employee to the E-Verify system, that that protects you from any consequences should that person not be have a lawful right to work here. But the bill really is more of a sword that could be used against businesses, because you could do nothing but employ people that are absolute citizens and have a right to work here. But if you don't follow the exact verbiage of that bill, the Commissioner of Labor could revoke your business license. I mean, there are severe consequences.
Talking to Brooke County Senator Ryan Weld. Ryan, if you're going to have those types of severe consequences, and I think this comes back to your point, you can't have a vague bill.
No.
It has to be very specific, because I believe Senator Tarr brought this up. What if you hire somebody to babysit the kids at night? Could you be subject under this bill to E-Verify if you're trying to hire the 16-year-old down the street to watch the kids for a couple of hours?
As it stands now, you would be.
And that's ludicrous.
It absolutely is. And so you have to make sure that when you're talking, again, about someone's business, their livelihood, the livelihoods of everybody who works for them, you got to get it right. This is not a day, I don't know, today's day 56, I think. You got to get it right. It's not a day 56 project. This is before the session, all of the I's should be dotted and the T's crossed in the proper way, and then we execute during the session.
So I've got 3 different individuals that babysit for me. I've got a gentleman that mows my grass. I'm 4 deep into this thing now. How much money do I owe because I haven't done an E-Verify? I mean, that'd be about $2,000, wouldn't it? Isn't it $500 a pop?
Well, it's also, you don't have a business license, so they can't do that, but they're going to take you to court to get fines levied against you. And so I understand the intent, and I want to get there, but we are way too late. Like, we had a subcommittee meeting this morning where very little headway was made.
Talk about that. What happened?
So yesterday, after the 2 hours that we spent on it, there was a subcommittee established to work on this bill, and I was appointed as a member. And so we met this morning, and we made some changes around the edges, but we really didn't get into the true meat of what the issues are. There are a couple of subsections. The penalty portion needs significant overhaul, and we're running out of time. And this isn't the thing that you got to rush. And it was very evident during the subcommittee today that there were more questions than there were answers. And that's problematic.
Ryan Weld joining us, Brooke County Senator. So, Ryan, to get to a workable bill, is this something you need to sit down with the chamber, with business owners, to try to get an idea of what would be workable on their end, what makes sense on your end?
Yeah, and we ran into issues absolutely to that. But we ran into issues that, like this morning, we discovered that our statute regarding record retention for employers, which hasn't been amended in 24 years, is out of whack with federal requirement. I mean, so I think this whole thing requires a much deeper dive into ensuring that our L&E practices, our labor and employment practices in West Virginia, adhere to federal law in more areas than just E-Verify, because it just showed the number of things out there that the unknown unknowns, as Secretary Rumsfeld would have said.
The discussion yesterday seemed to center a bit on, well, if we made it permissive and not mandatory, we would be okay. But what I'm hearing you say now is that wouldn't even be a good option with what you're discovering. Let's just shelve the thing. Is that fair?
I don't think we have enough time. I just don't think we have enough. I mean, this was a floor amendment over in the House of Delegates. And sometimes a floor amendment that is an absolute strike and insert to a bill isn't the best way to conduct policy. The committee process exists for a reason, to work the bill, to find these issues, to figure out, what are our conflicts, where are the potential landmines in all this. When you don't go through that full process, this is what you end up with.
Is this a situation, we're talking to Ryan Weld, Brooke County Senator, of a solution looking for a problem here in West Virginia? TJ mentioned the federal policy that's already in place. If you are if you are a bad actor and you're going to hire illegals, you're going to do it under the table, you're going to pay in cash, you're going to do it ways to get around. Is this a solution looking for a problem?
There have been instances, I don't know how widespread it is, of somebody who has been hiring illegal workers, undocumented workers. I don't know how widespread. To be completely honest with you, right now, I'm focused on ensuring that if the bill is going to come out of this Capitol on this, you got to try to get it into shape. And so the reasoning behind it has kind of been in the background for me, because all I've been looking at is a bill that was just very poorly crafted.
You don't have a crystal ball. I assume the subcommittee will go back into session at some point. Judiciary is on at 3. Kind of track the process here for me. What do you expect to happen?
We're going to have to find some time, because we're going to have 2 floor sessions today. We're going to have a split floor. We've got floor at 11 o'clock. There are probably committee meetings in between that and Judiciary at 3, so trying to squeeze time in. We'll go into Judiciary, recess, go to the floor for our split session, go back out to committee. I think there are 12 bills on the committee's agenda today. So this bill has to be done, and the subcommittee report has to be reported out to go back to Judiciary.
Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday.
Yeah, that's
so
too
you
late.
got to get it 3 days.
Yeah.
There's always ways, TJ.
There's ways, but well, I mean,
there are always ways.
You don't have to say this. I will. I don't know that this is something you suspend the rules over, frankly, given the rush job and everything else.
No, I don't think that's a 4/5, and I don't think you get to that with the shape the bill's currently in.
Yeah.
Ryan Weld joining us, Brooke County Senator. Let me ask you about something else, Ryan, quickly. The bill to repeal the transfer rule is going to be on first reading in the House. You were the lead sponsor on that bill a couple of years ago. Seeing it in practice now, would you support the repeal at this point, or do we need more time, or do you still like the transfer rule as it was passed a couple of years ago?
So I know that there have been people in other parts of the state, the Kanawha Valley, that have raised some concerns or issues, but in our neck of the woods, and I feel that I'm fairly in tune with athletics, high school athletics around our area. My stepfather was a high school football coach at Weir and Madonna and Oak Glen for almost 4 decades, and haven't really heard much pushback or feedback or concerns in our area. I think we have to look at, was there a better way to do this than just completely repealing, because we would go back to the people that brought us to the situation where this was a very popular, necessary idea 3 years ago, 4 years ago, to being back into control on the rules. And there was no discussion of, well, what else can we do and how can we, reform that? I think that there were a lot of people who looked at it as parents having the ultimate decision of what's best and where their child's going to go to school. And so I'm not on the education committee. I don't know. I wasn't privy to the discussion yesterday. I wasn't there. And so it'll come out and go to the floor, and we'll see what happens.
So would it be fair to say then you would be open to changes, maybe not a full repeal, but exploring changes?
Sure. I mean, I think this building is built on compromise and looking at the issue in its entirety. So, sure, absolutely.
Is part of that compromise bringing the SSAC back into those revisions and giving them back some power, or should that power remain with the legislature to make the ultimate decision?
I mean, that's a good question, and there have been bills in the past that weren't workable of bringing the SSAC and their rulemaking underneath the purview of the state. Is probably a little too much. We have enough stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they were a part of the discussions a couple of years ago. Different regime, different leadership there at the time. It might be different now. We're now 2 directors removed from when the director that was in place when this rule went into effect several years ago.
He is Brooke County Senator Ryan Weld. Lots to do. Not a lot of time to get it all done. Saturday.
Nope.
His final day.
We'll get there.
Senator, appreciate you stopping by. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. We'll be back in a moment. This is Talkline from the ARP broadcast location.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
At the Health Plan, we are here for you, and we have been one of the most trusted carriers for over 40 years. Headquartered right here in West Virginia, providing exceptional health coverage and local customer service.
The Health Plan, we are here for you.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
West Virginia Natural Gas keeps energy affordable and our state competitive for growth. Producing and using more of our reliable, homegrown energy helps stabilize prices for families and small businesses. Natural gas already supports more than 73,000 West Virginia jobs and generates billions for our economy. Investing in West Virginia natural gas means affordability, growth, and a stronger nation. Natural gas, affordable, reliable, American.
This message is brought to you by the Gas and Oil Association of West Virginia.
Golf Week called Pete Dye Golf Club one of America's best modern courses. Golf Digest recently called Pete Dye one of America's 100 greatest courses, and Pete Dye calls it 18 of the most exciting and memorable holes I've ever built on one course. Pete Dye Golf Club invites you to join the only course named after the legendary designer himself. National, corporate, and local memberships available now for a limited time. Visit PeteDye.com to learn more. Come play where the Mountaineers play at Pete Dye Golf Club.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Across West Virginia, hospitals are always here, healing, helping, and standing strong for our communities. Hospitals save lives and build livelihoods. They're among our largest employers, with a passionate workforce of 54,000 West Virginians. Hospitals are economic drivers, contributing close to $17 billion to our state's economy and working to ensure access to care for all. From life-saving moments to wellness support, West Virginia hospitals keep our state healthy, our families strong, and our future bright.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All-new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All-new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
Hardwood Heat meets the Mountain State in Charleston. The 2026 West Virginia Girls High School Basketball State Championships, presented by Chick-fil-A. Saturday, March 14th. Every possession, every roar of the crowd, every championship moment live on Metro News Television, powered by GoMart. Watch on mobile, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, LG TV, and select Samsung Smart TVs. Details at WVMetroNewsTV.com to get in the action.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
304 Talk 304 is the text line. It's a phone number if you want to get in touch with us. The text line is the way to do it. Just a couple of thoughts on that E-Verify discussion, TJ. It's often not the intent of the bill that becomes the problem. It's the unintended consequences of the bill. And I thought Senator Tarr yesterday in that discussion and Senator Weld there with us just a moment ago, the unintended consequences and the just craziness that you got a couple babysitters, you got a kid that mows your lawn, and you as an individual under this law or under this proposed law could be subject to E-Verify. I know that's not the intent of the bill, but that's the things you've got to clean up, and you need to do that on day 2, 3, 4, not 56.
No, and that's what happens when you rush. He talked about that strike and insert on the House side. Why are you doing that? Why aren't you digging deeper and vetting and having these conversations? Well, supposed answers would yield one to believe politics. Mm-hmm. And this is an issue that people can run on. coming up in the midterm elections. That's why you want it in law. And I think it's more about optics than it is about any kind of policy. I think it's horrible policy. As I'm doing the math here, I'm gonna have a $2,000 fine on me because the number of babysitters I have. That's ridiculous. So the best thing for this thing, I've got black on today for a reason, to mourn legislation that dies. This needs to be among what dies today. Let it go.
I want to talk to you just quickly. We got about 3 minutes here. Bailey's Law. You wrote about that in your commentary today. That is on a Judiciary Committee agenda over in the Senate today.
Yes, and I want to make clear, I wrote that piece, published it last night about 6 o'clock. I did reach out to Senator Tom Willis, who chairs the Judiciary Committee, for a comment. Did not hear back. Late last night, I want to say somewhere 10:30, maybe 11. I'd already gone to bed because I go to bed with the chickens. That was added to the agenda. It is at the foot of the agenda. What that bill would do, it would increase penalties for DUI causing death. Right now, the sentence is 3 to 13. There are different allowances for home confinement and youth offender programs. It would strip those out and take the penalty from 3 to 13, I believe, from 5, or excuse me, was it 6 to 30, I believe. I'll have to go back and look at, but it would double, essentially, more than double what we have. That's good public policy. It sailed through the House. Why it has had such a tough time in the Senate, there are rumblings. No one wants to officially go on the record as to why that is happening, but I'm comfortable in saying it's politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's politics. And anytime you have good policy that is stopped because of politics, that's a sad state of affairs in this building, and unfortunately it happens too often.
Go back to what I said about the intent and the unintended consequences. I don't see unintended consequences here. What are the unintended consequences of putting someone who is convicted of DUI with death, put them away longer? I don't see unintended consequences to that bill.
Well, and I wrote in the piece, forgiveness is one thing, and I think it's important to remember this. Forgiveness is something that we should not reserve. Forgiveness is something we should grant to those who ask for it, and I think that includes the person who was driving that night that killed Bailey Bauer. Forgiveness is one thing, but Dave, that does not alleviate consequence.
Correct.
And there needs to be dire consequences in taking someone's life.
Couple of texts here, 304 Talk 304. Well said, by the way.
Thank you.
Well said. Good grief. E-Verify has been around since 1996. Ryan Weld and Republicans have for decades fought against mandatory E-Verify. They want to protect the ability to hire illegal immigrants. E-Verify is a straightforward process. The bluster about babysitters and lawnmowers is a red herring. They would be independent contractors in the circumstances as described. Make the bill state that E-Verify isn't required for independent contractors. West Virginia already has a clear law defining who is an independent contractor. Ask Ryan Weld of the Chamber of Commerce why they don't know how to comply with a program that began in 1996. I don't think anybody's accusing the Chamber of not. The Chamber, let me make this clear. This is what got Pat McGeehan into trouble over on the House side. I don't know any businesses, legit businesses, that are actively violating federal and state law by hiring illegal immigrants.
No.
The problem with this bill is the vagueness and the confusion that it creates. That creates a situation where legal counsel says, yes, these people who should not be subject to would be subject to, in addition to the burden on small businesses.
And one point Ryan did not make, we didn't have time to get into, I'm not sure it's constitutional for the state of West Virginia, many others have raised this point, to impose criminal fees, which that's what you would be doing, on federal law. This is a federal law. They have I-9 is mandatory, E-Verify is permissive. That's the way the feds have done it. Leave it alone. I'm fine if we just leave it alone. I don't think we even need to be in the issue, frankly.
304 Talk 304. How many ways can Senate Bill 420 be inserted into other bills? We'll talk about that next. This is Talkline on Metro News. For 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Suspension order to pass by the Saturday night session ending deadline. The E-Verify bill back on the agenda for this afternoon's Senate Judiciary Committee meeting. It lots of discussion, but no vote Tuesday. Marion County Senator Joey Garcia expressing concern about the requirements that could be put on business owners to prove their workers are legally here.
Let's say it's like Susan B. Anthony's great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter. Been here since the beginning of time in the United States of America. Absolutely American citizen. That doesn't matter if I don't use the verify process in this bill, correct?
Correct.
I still get a penalty, $500 per day
per person.
The House of Delegates floor session isn't scheduled to start until 2 today, giving House committees enough time to get Senate bills to the floor. The House Finance Committee meeting this morning with an income tax cut bill passed in the Senate on its agenda. Very warm day today in West Virginia. Temperatures headed toward the 80s, and with that, the chance for severe weather. Metro News staff meteorologist Brian Hughes says there are tornado watches in parts of Ohio and Kentucky.
You know, as these storms start to roll through the area, even if the tornado's on quote unquote the other side of the mountain, you're still going to have the impact on the other side as it passes through. But we have all threats on the table today.
You're listening to Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
The true purpose of high school sports is not about playing time or winning trophies. It's not about getting college scholarships or going pro. If that's your focus, you're missing the point. High school sports are about teaching life lessons and helping students become better people. While winning is the goal, growing is the purpose of high school sports, and we believe that is worth protecting.
Let's join together to protect the purpose of high school sports. Visit protectthepurpose.com. This message presented by the NFHS and the WVSSAC.
Worried about paying for college? Metro News is proud to present the 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program, where one high school junior in West Virginia will win a full scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan College, including room, board, tuition, and fees. For details, go to wvmetronews.com and click the Apply Now button. Deadline is May 3rd. The 2026 West Virginia Scholar Program, presented by Greer Industries and the West Virginia Hospital Association. Go to wvmetronews.com and apply today by May 3rd.
It's West Virginia against BYU in the Big 12 basketball tournament tonight in Kansas City. The Mountaineers need a good run if they want a chance for an NCAA bid. WV coach Ross Hodge likes his team.
It's a team that, wants to be around each other and legitimately wants to keep going. And there's a lot of teams around the country that do not want to keep going.
BYU beat Kansas State last night to advance. Tonight's game tips at 7 in Kansas City. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
We're at the AARP broadcast location, Upper Rotunda of the West Virginia State Capitol. Joining us is our Stephen Allen Adams, Capitol reporter, Ogden Newspapers. He just scurried down from the House Finance Committee meeting. What's going on up at House Finance this morning?
Well, they are now starting their talk on the governor's tax cut proposal. That is specifically Senate Bill, is it 392?
392.
Yeah, 392. That's the one. Right now it's set at 10%. I suspect they'll have to amend that to get it to 5%. Not sure if they keep the vape tax increase in that or not. I would presume not, but then again, it's an extra $22 million of revenue. Maybe they'll keep it in. I don't know. Just before that, the committee recommended the governor's rural health transformation, basically spending authority for the $199 million that we were awarded for year one of the rural health transformation program. The governor has been clamoring for it for weeks. I'm still not entirely sure what the rush was for it. Obviously, there were key deadlines for spending that money and encumbering that money, but most of those deadlines aren't until September, October. We just learned that up in committee. So I'm really unsure why the governor was in full-on panic mode now for the last couple weeks about trying to get that out the door, because, I mean, they could have waited till 11:59 on Saturday prior to sign and die to pass it, and it would have been fine. So, and in fact, I mean, they've got some specific dollar amounts that they had set up for some of the, it's a 7-pillar program, but it sounds like there's also changes that can happen between now and then, so nothing is set in stone on this program exactly. So I don't know what the rush was.
They were going to pass that, though, even if it was late. They were never going to hold that.
No. Now, I mean, they might have held it as sort of a I'll use the word gambling chip. I don't really like the word hostage. But, they do still have, the budget downstairs in the governor's office. We should start hearing maybe tomorrow about whether we have budget line item vetoes or anything of that sort that could possibly be overridden by the legislature with 2/3 vote on the House and the Senate side.
So handicap this take. They move it to 5%. I'm going to bet they keep vape in.
They might.
Why
would you not? It's $22 million.
Yeah, it's $22 million. They move it to 5%, gets it to the floor. They hold it until they see what the governor does with his line item vetoes. If he plays nice, he gets the 5%. If he chooses not to play nice, maybe they amend it on the floor. But the ball is in his court. They're going to put it back on him.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly reasonable scenario. I mean, keep in mind, they don't have to pass this 5% tax cut. The governor's revenue estimate basically accounts for not receiving an extra $125 million in personal income tax collections. So if they don't pass the 5% personal income tax cut, guess what? That's an extra $125 million that shows up at the end of fiscal year 2027 as part of the budget surplus. So they don't have to do it if they don't want to. The governor's going to be furious. I'm sure he'll go out on the road and campaign against some of these guys in the primary. But they don't have to do it. But at the same time, it does already incorporate it. It doesn't really hurt to go ahead and do it. And I guess, if things go sideways, we do have more than $500 million in the personal income tax reserve fund to try to help deal with that so you don't start doing mid-year budget cuts and stuff like that. So there's mechanisms to get through the first year. So we'll see. But, yeah, I think that scenario is possible.
Stephen Allen Adams, Ogden Newspapers, joining us here, MetroNews Talkline. We've talked a lot about Senate Bill 420. That would be the bill to incentivize, using scare quotes there, incentivize power plants around 69% capacity. But part of that bill got amended into House Bill 4026. That same 69% stipulation got amended into that bill, and the House said, not so fast, my friend.
That's right. I always thought it was a little bit amusing because the Senate amended their version of Senate Bill 420 into House Bill 4026 and passed that out before they even passed Senate Bill 420. So that was already over here. Now, the House took some time to take up the message on that. This is, again, not a mandate, but I think it can be argued that some of the provisions in the bill kind of make it a mandate by sort of proxy to require coal-fired power plants to operate at a 69% capacity factor. Whether that's economical for them to do so or not, whether the potential for raising ratepayer bills for electric rates, it doesn't really matter. They're highly encouraged to do it. There are some penalties if they don't get close, things of that nature. But that was put in the 4026. The House took up the message on that yesterday. And Pat McElhinny, the majority leader, made the motion to not concur with the Senate's amendments to that bill and ask the Senate to recede. And there you have it. It was like an 87-7 vote, pretty overwhelming message. And keep in mind, the Senate version of that bill, Senate Bill 420, they talked about that for 3 hours in House Energy on Monday night up until 10 p.m. I'd be very surprised to see that get put up on markup and discussion phase now.
As I talk to folks, part of this, and everything you said is correct. There's the idea of raising rates, all of the things that McGeehan mentioned yesterday. But I want to be careful how I phrase this. This Cold War, this quiet Cold War between coal and natural gas.
It's not really quiet anymore.
It's not quiet anymore, exactly. Look, natural gas doesn't like this bill, and they see this as picking one commodity over the other. The coal folks look at this, and it's a way to get more coal out of the mine, get more people back to work. They have their macroeconomic argument that they've made and what it will do for the economy. But again, the gas folks say you're picking one over the other. And from what I hear in the House bought that argument. They're not going to pick one commodity over the other.
Not only that, this has not been brought up, and you can tell me if I'm wrong because you're more knowledgeable than me. Okay, so they pass this, and yay, we start mining more coal. Aren't we going to get most of that coal for our coal-fired power plants from places like Wyoming, where it's a little less expensive than our West Virginia coal, potentially? So, yeah, you could put coal miners back to work. They might not be our coal miners.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the mix.
Yeah.
It depends on the plant and how you've engineered what plant.
Right.
But I will note this. There is no requirement that I read in the bill that it has to be West Virginia coal. So it could come from any basin.
That's exactly my point. So, I mean, there's repercussions, I think, in this bill that I don't think have been thought out. And the main supporters of this bill, in this case, the Senate Committee, Energy Committee Chair Chris Rose, you got Brian Helton, who is a big proponent of this, as you know. keep doing this on behalf of the Coal Association, and I don't think any of us are anti-coal. Coal is West Virginia, so I keep hearing, but it's one of those things where it doesn't make any sense to force coal-fired power plants to do this given the mix. If you have a problem with the way the market works through PJM, there's probably things you can do and probably things you can't do. A lot of this is determined by FERC, as you know. That's well out of our hands to deal with. So, I mean, this bill doesn't solve the problem that they want to solve, which is trying to lower rates for taxpayers.
Do you have a feel, and we're talking to Stephen Allen Adams, Ogden Newspapers, do you have a feel for how high of a priority this particular bill and that stipulation is, of whether or not we could see it inserted into other key pieces of legislation here down the stretch that the House really does want to see happen?
Oh, stay tuned, because we're in that period of time between now and the end of session. The old phrase, fat possums run at midnight. You're going to see many lawmakers try to amend things into other bills and try to kind of fit a square peg into a round hole. Are there bills where you could probably put the provisions of Senate Bill 420 into? For sure, probably, and they will try if they can. But, I mean, that's one of the things that will end up in a big fight probably up until midnight on Saturday when we sine die, when we gavel out of this place. So you're going to see that, I think, and you'll see that with, I think, a couple other bills, because obviously people have their priorities and they want to keep trying. You can't blame them. They got their constituencies. They got a job to do.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's what makes the legislative session fun and exciting. So go for it.
Well, I hear, and to his credit, he's doing what his constituents want, what he believes in. Helton has not stopped on this bill. He is still trying to whip votes hot and heavy in the House and is not giving up on it, and I don't see him giving up on it anytime soon, and good for him. That's what he's supposed to do.
Yep.
What's going to happen? What are you maybe looking at that we're not anticipating now, a bill that blows up on Saturday? Anything rising to the top yet in your mind?
Well, I don't know the specific bills. I know that there could be another attempt by certainly Delegate Sean Fluharty to try to get Rayleigh's law, trying to get that into a specific provision. I could see that. But, and again, the coal provisions of SB 420 or HB 4026, one or the other, there's definitely going to be attempts to do that sort of thing for sure. I mean, keep in mind, we got to get bills on first reading tomorrow if there's any hope of them getting over the finish line by Saturday. And, we've even had a conference committee on the E-Verify bill just this morning to try to get it passed through a committee to get it out in time, say, for the Senate floor session this evening. Everyone's trying to get their stuff out and trying to find ways to save their bills and whip votes, and, that's the process.
Quickly, Stephen, you also wrote yesterday about the bill that would limit state agencies' use of media monitoring organizations, and this seems like it's NewsGuard that kind of monitors media organizations and gives them a grade for truth and factualness, and that's the gist of it.
Yeah, this bill is kind of a fight, honestly, between two companies. One is Newsmax, conservative media outlet. They're the ones that got pinged real bad here for lying, being accused of lying by Dominion voting systems for rigging the election. They don't like that NewsGuard gives them a low rating and accuses them of rating other conservative news outlets and media outlets low, even though they give some pretty high ratings to Fox News, National Review, even the Daily Caller, founded by Tucker Carlson. So that's really what this is about, preventing state agencies from doing work with advertising agencies that use pretty much NewsGuard. NewsGuard's really the only one really kind of doing that type of work. There's others, but they're the biggest player. And this bill would stop that.
Can't we just – do we need to even be in that fight? Can we not just let the market work, people vote with their dollars and call it a day? Whoever decides that at an agency level, if they don't want to use it, don't use it.
Very quickly, I hate to tell Newsmax, but if you're going to go with companies that are just looking at demographics and viewership and that sort of stuff, guess what? Fox News is still going to get West Virginia's advertising dollars over Newsmax because there's not that many people who watch it. So I don't really understand it. But.
He's Stephen Allen Adams, Capitol reporter and columnist for Ogden Newspapers. Always a pleasure, Stephen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We'll get an update from the state tournament next.
Running a small business means wearing a lot of hats, and dealing with tech problems shouldn't be one of them. CityNet helps West Virginia businesses keep their technology running smoothly, from networks and computers to backup, security, and day-to-day support. Whether you don't have IT staff or you have a small team that could use extra help, CityNet can take care of the technology or work alongside your team to fill in the gaps. With proactive monitoring, fast local support, and solutions built on CityNet's fiber network, your business stays productive instead of reactive. Call us at 1-844-CityNet to get started.
For over 30 years, High Technology Foundation has been committed to building a stronger West Virginia. Our mission, economic diversification. By fostering innovation and supporting tech initiatives, we pave the way for a brighter future. From cutting-edge research to tech-driven solutions, we're transforming the landscape. Join us in creating opportunities and driving progress. Let's build a diverse economy together. Visit WVHTF.org. High Technology Foundation, shaping West Virginia's future.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
Since 1926, the West Virginia Hospital Association has been the collective voice of our state's hospitals. With a shared vision of strengthening communities, improving lives, and supporting our state's economic well-being, our member hospitals work every day to provide high-quality, accessible care. This year, we celebrate 100 years of a unified voice and our ongoing commitment to supporting our members in achieving a strong, healthy West Virginia.
A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association, online at WVHA.org.
President Trump says America can't win with a weak electric grid. In West Virginia, that means outages and missed opportunities for jobs and growth. That's why more than 6,000 West Virginians signed a petition calling for modern transmission lines that keep power reliable and strengthen President Trump's America First economy. It's time for action. Learn more at powerwvnow.org. Paid for by West Virginians for reliable and affordable energy.
If you have a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or know someone that does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd. For details, go to WVMetroNews.com to apply. That's WVMetroNews.com. Remember, application deadline is May 3rd.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
When I was having
WVMetroNews.com, the only website you need to stay informed.
I'm just going to be like this for the rest of my life. But then I thought, I'm done acting like that. I'm not going to be like that anymore. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 265 pounds. It's always been my goal to have my own place. I want everyone to feel welcome here. I would never have been able to do all these things before without WVU Medicine.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
All the sports West Virginia is talking about.
Nikki Izzo-Brown, coach of the nationally ranked WVU women's soccer team.
I think they're just having a very good understanding of each other.
Join Kyle Wiggs, Brett Howe, and Coach Hunter weeknights for Sportsline on Metro News Television. Available on mobile, Roku, Fire TV, smart TVs, and online at WVMetroNewsTV.com.
On the next State of Minds.
I came here to Morgantown, the WVU. I wanted to play football. Tried to walk on, but I was humbled very quickly. So I joined the WVU forestry team. What my father taught me was the importance of hard work and the importance of sweat equity.
News.com.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Coliseum, where the girls basketball state tournament is underway. 6 games were played yesterday, 6 more on tap today. Kyle Wiggs is, of course, part of the MetroNews Sports crew and joins us from the Coliseum. Good morning, Kyle.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Kyle, who's in action this morning? We got Class AAA on the floor today.
Yes, AAA, and we've got an interesting game going. This is number 3 seed Nitro against number 6 seed Princeton. And Nitro got off to a really, really good start, got up by double figures, and Princeton's chased them the entire game. And Princeton has made a couple of runs here in the second half, gotten to within a single possession on at least 2 occasions, but Nitro has pushed that lead back out to 9 points. Micah Adams, outstanding point guard for Nitro, has hit a couple of clutch three-pointers in this second half that has allowed Nitro to maintain the advantage. So there's 5:13 to go in the game, and Nitro leads Princeton 39-30, and there was just an offensive foul against Nitro underneath. So Princeton has the ball, but they've got a lot of work to do here, down by 9 with just over 5 minutes left. And you mentioned the rest of the AAA bracket. Really, really intriguing because you've got some of the top teams. Greenbrier East is undefeated and has been the top team in AAA all year. But you've also got a number of very good teams and some outstanding players. Spring Valley, who won at 4A last year, they're the 2nd seed in AAA. They returned Sophie Hutchinson. You've got Kaiser in this bracket with Sid Felton, one of the top scorers in the state. And you've got Riley Storm leading John Marshall. She's a Player of the Year candidate as well. I don't want to leave any teams out, but those are some of the highlights of this AAA bracket, and all 4 AAA quarterfinal round games will be played today.
Also, we'll have a couple of Class AA quarterfinals, 2 Class AA quarterfinals yesterday. Wyoming East, James Monroe advancing, and the Class Single A semifinal bracket is set.
Yeah, you've got AA teams advanced yesterday, James Monroe and Wyoming East. That'll be a 1 versus 5 matchup. They both won their quarterfinal round games yesterday here in Charleston. So you've got coming up next, Wheeling Central and Wayne. That's the 3-6 game in AA. And then tonight, number 2 seed Williamstown against Philip Barber. That is part of the evening session. And in Class Single A, as you mentioned, pretty much chalk. You had number 1 seed Gilmer County behind the Dobbins sisters. They handled Webster County. They're on to the semis. You did have a 5 beat a 4. Ritchie County beat Tucker County last night in a really, really interesting game because Ritchie County didn't shoot the ball well at all. Just 1 field goal in the first quarter, 1 field goal in the second quarter, but Tucker let them hang around, and Ritchie finally got hot, won that game by dominating the fourth quarter. So Ritchie's through to the semis as the 5 seed. Number 2 seed Tug Valley defeated Greater Beckley Christian, and number 3 seed St. Mary's looked really, really good in defeating Pocahontas County. So Tug Valley, St. Mary's, Gilmer County, Ritchie County, those are the Single A semifinals, which are set for Thursday. And then we'll see the big school teams on Thursday as well. All 4 Quad A quarterfinals coming up on Thursday from here in Charleston.
All right, Kyle, I'll see you over at the Coliseum in a little bit. We have complete coverage, WVMetroNews.com. Thank you, Kyle.
All right, no problem.
Back to wrap up hour number 1 in a moment. This is Talkline from the AARP broadcast location.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Every day in West Virginia, we play for something bigger.
As a mom, I play for her education.
I play because it helps provide care for the ones who care for us.
I play to help keep our parks beautiful.
Why I play? Because every play supports West Virginia's future, our students, our seniors, and our state parks. For 40 years, proceeds from the West Virginia Lottery have totaled nearly $13.7 billion. I play. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
When my shift ends, I hang up my hard hat and head home, proud of the work we're doing here in West Virginia. Natural gas is more than energy. It's jobs, investment, and opportunity across our state. We put safety first and deliver reliable energy families and businesses count on. For families like mine, it means steady work and a stronger future. West Virginia Natural Gas, fueling communities today and building tomorrow.
This message is brought to you by the Gas and Oil Association of West Virginia.
Picture a community where every space tells a story. Those are the communities we're designing at ZL Milne Architects and Engineers. With a blend of creativity and technical expertise, we design spaces that inspire, innovate, and ignite change. From cutting-edge educational facilities to community-centric gathering spaces, we're committed to improving lives through design. Let us help you shape a brighter future for generations to come. Because at ZL Milne, it's more than architecture. It's about building your legacy.
Golf Week called Pete Dye Golf Club one of America's best modern courses. Golf Digest recently called Pete Dye one of America's 100 greatest courses, and Pete Dye calls it 18 of the most exciting and memorable holes I've ever built on one course. Pete Dye Golf Club invites you to join the only course named after the legendary designer himself. National, corporate, and local memberships available now for a limited time. Visit PeteDye.com to learn more. Come play where the Mountaineers play at Pete Dye Golf Club.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
President Trump is right. America's electric grid needs to be fixed now.
When you have a grid system in this country that's obsolete and a disaster, it can't produce the electricity. It can't distribute the electricity.
For West Virginia, obsolete means power outages and lost opportunities. That's why more than 6,000 West Virginians signed a petition urging state leaders to support President Trump's call to fix our grid. Learn more at powerwvnow.org. Paid for by West Virginians for reliable and affordable energy.
It all comes down to this in Charleston. The 2026 West Virginia Boys High School Basketball State Championships presented by Chick-fil-A. Saturday, March 21st. Every possession, every roar of the crowd, every championship moment. Live on MetroNews Television, powered by GoMart. Watch on mobile, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, LG TV, and select Samsung Smart TVs. Details at WVMetroNewsTV.com to get in the action.
Number 2, MetroNews Talkline is 6 minutes away. This is Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
WVU Medicine caring for all Mountaineers, including you. Final game of 6 on day 1 of the girls' state basketball tournament. It's the 4 versus 5 game in Class A between Tucker County and Ritchie County. In the opening minutes, Chelsea Jeffrey gives the Rebels an early lead as she corrals a loose ball and scores it. The Rebels lead 4-3. Tucker County answers right back. Corner 3 is up and good for Issa Kitzmiller. The Mountain Lions go back on top, taking a 6-4 lead. In the final seconds of the first quarter, time enough for Addie Moats to bury a 3-pointer at the buzzer. And at the end of 1, Tucker County is doubling up Ritchie County 14-7. Step ahead to the second quarter. Steal and a score for McKenna Evans, and the lead swells to 9 points at 16-7. Ritchie County answers back when Emily Bush powers up in the paint for the Rebels. However, they would be limited to just 2 field goals in the first half. It's a 16-9 game. Late in the quarter, Peyton Cross puts back the miss for the Mountain Lions, and at halftime, Tucker County has a 7-point lead at 20-13. Third quarter, the Mountain Lions extend their lead to the largest cushion of the contest. Moats with 2 of her team best 12 points, and Tucker County is up by 13 at 31-18. Final seconds of the third, Elsa Law connects for 3 of her team best 11 points. So at the end of 3, the Rebels are back within 10 at 31-21. 5:30 to go. Ritchie is within 8. Make it 5 as Jeffrey connects for 3. The Rebels are back in it. They trail 31-26. A 3 from Law gets Ritchie within 2, and then with 3.5 to play, Abigail Cox caps a 10-0 Ritchie County run with this basket. The game is now tied at 31. Tucker retakes the lead with a free throw, and then with 2 minutes left, Moats to Cross for 2 more. The Mountain Lions back up by 3 at 34-31. Does Ritchie County have an answer? Indeed they do. With 40 seconds left, top of the key 3 for Law is good, and we are tied up once again at 34 apiece. Then Ritchie forces a steal, and they get some great ball movement here. It leads to a bucket from Cox to give Ritchie County their first and only lead of the game. The Rebels make 2 free throws in the final seconds to ice it, and Ritchie County is moving on to the semifinal round where conference rival Gilmer County awaits them. 38-34 is the final as Ritchie County erases a 13-point second-half deficit.
He shot, I think I saw at halftime, 2 of 25 first half, and that was miserable. And I think some of the girls were playing tight, and they were doing a good job on Elsa with that box and one. We kind of adjusted something there in the second half and got her going a little bit, and that did that. And then we changed our defense, a little bit of our press. We've been playing around with that for about 2 weeks now. I really hadn't showed it, and it came through tonight.
WVU Medicine caring for all Mountaineers, including you. Welcome back to the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center. We're all set to bring you coverage of Day 2 of the WVSSAC Girls Basketball State Tournament. By the end of the day, we will have the semifinal matchups set in both Class AA and Class AAA. First on the floor today at 9:30, it's a AAA quarterfinal matchup between Nitro and Princeton. It's a regular season rematch. Princeton defeated Nitro 60-44 back on December 13th. Princeton is at the state tournament for the first time since 2023, and they're led by Natalie Rose, who averages 10.5 points per game. Nitro has advanced to the state championship in back-to-back seasons, winning the title 2 years ago. The Wildcats are led by Carson Jones, who averages just over 15 points and 9 rebounds a contest. Then it's back into the Class AA quarterfinals. Wheeling Central Catholic taking on Wayne. Wayne, last year's Class AAA state champion, and the Pioneers are led by outstanding junior guard Jace Sammons, who averages 26.5 points per game. Wheeling Central Catholic was the runner-up in Class AA a year ago, and they are led by senior Seneca Heller, who averages 19.1 points per contest. Another defending champion is next on the court at 1 o'clock back in the Class AAA bracket. Spring Valley won the Class Quad A title a year ago. Sophie Hutchison, the all-time leading points producer, assists, and steals leader for Spring Valley. She is leading the Timberwolves. She is signed with LaSalle University. East Fairmont is at the state tournament for the 4th consecutive year, and they are led by Kaylee Heyman, who is averaging 15 points a game for the Bees. At 5:30, the 1 versus 8 matchup in Class AAA. The only unbeaten team in the state on the girls' side, top-seeded Greenbrier East, will take on Hampshire. Greenbrier East posting their second perfect regular season in program history. The last was when they last won the title back in 2013, and they are led by Ava Workman, who averages just under 20 points per contest. Hampshire went on the road to defeat Lewis County in the regional round 55-52, and they are led by Della Knight, who averages 17 points per contest. Then the final Class AA quarterfinal matchup will take the court at 7:15. Williamstown taking on Philip Barber. PB is in the state tournament field for the 5th consecutive year, and the Colts are led by Izzy Knotts, who averages 14.5 points and 9.2 rebounds per game. Williamstown was the runner-up in 2024. They have already posted 7 victories against state tournament qualifiers, and they're led by a pair of outstanding players in Quinn Bunch, who averages 18.2 points per game, and Arissa Burt, who averages 9.2 points per contest. contest. And finally, at 9 o'clock, the 4 versus 5 game in Class AAA. John Marshall taking on Kaiser. John Marshall is in the state tournament field for the first time since 1994. Kaiser has made it 3 years running. They have won 8 of 9 heading into the state tournament. And this is a matchup of the all-time leading scorers in program history for both teams. John Marshall led by Riley Storm, who's averaging 20.5 points per contest. And Kaiser is led by a junior in Bibbs Felton, who's averaging 20.1 points per game. Stay tuned to WVMetroNews.com for all of your tournament coverage.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Second hour of MetroNews Talkline. We're at the AARP broadcast location, Upper Rotunda, the West Virginia State Capitol. Final day of the session is Saturday. Things starting to crank up a little bit with some unofficial committee deadlines pending today. One of the dangers of standing around in the Upper Rotunda, if you stand here too long, we might just drag you over and put you on the show. That's what happened to Cabell County Senator Mike Woelfel. He was standing around too long. So we said, why don't you come over and sit down for a little bit?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Great to see you guys. And let me begin by saying you've informed our state and our citizens in a very dramatic way this session, in an important way. And I appreciate that. And what happens here in this session and in this building affects everybody in the state. And I just want to tip my cap to you guys for passing the word out there in an objective, fair way.
Well, thank you for the kind words. We'll put that in the thin file.
Okay.
For folks, you know, for the average folks who, you know, or maybe the casual watchers, kind of pull the curtain back. What are the next couple of days going to be like here with deadlines approaching and you know, sine die coming up on Saturday night?
Well, a couple things. People are edgy. I saw some acting out yesterday, and I did act out yesterday a bit in committee. Also, deals are being made with leadership between the House and the Senate. I'm not really in on that because I'm in the minority party. But, if you guys don't do X, we're not going to run Y and Z. Well, that works until X doesn't pass out of a committee, which happened yesterday, I think, on a bill. And then all deals are off, because maybe you submarined my bill. You ran it. But my point is shenanigans are going on back and forth, and legislation may die as a result of that.
What's the X you're talking about? Crystallize it.
I can't. I can't. I got one friend that's in on that deal, and I think he might have been betrayed or thinks he is, and he might be a little vengeful. So I'm not toward me, but I just think that bills are being held captive a bit in exchange for something on the other side, and neither the House trusts the Senate, and the Senate doesn't necessarily trust the House at this point.
Would we be better off if we trusted each other? If someone said, you know what, I'll run your bill, never mind. I hope you'll do the same for me.
Yeah, we'd be a lot better off. 100%. Not going to happen.
Just give it an up-down vote.
Yeah, but then you're like, but you tainted the committee with the meeting, and you told him you really didn't want it to pass. So, but you ran it, so I don't believe you.
Talking to Senator Mike Woelfel from Cabell County. Time winding down here. I know you're, again, in the minority party, but we've talked and we've heard some rumors Rayleigh's Law might get another chance in one chamber or the other. What are you hearing?
I hear that we may do something with that in the Senate. I sure hope so. That's a great bill. That's not a homeschool bill. That is a bill about child protective services and protecting the children who cannot protect themselves through no fault of their own. And I hope we do get a crack at it. You did see that we got a transfer bill, a clean bill out of the Senate. By the way, I introduced that same bill the first day, and my exact language. But I'm just glad to see a bill. It's not about who got their bill passed. So I'm really glad we're going to make some changes. And I'll tell the coaches, if you recruit next session, I won't be here, but I expect there to be some sanctions on coaches that are caught recruiting. So this means things are going to change, and I'm just very happy to see us go back to guardrails on high school sports.
I'm hearing you talk in the affirmative, so you believe it has the votes to get through the Senate?
Yes, it will. There'll be some whining about it. There'll be some negative votes.
Gnashing of teeth?
Yes, the teeth will be gnashed, and I believe that maybe amendments will be offered, but I believe we're going to have a clean bill, and the things that people around the state have seen happen will, for the most part, come to an end. And the experiment failed on this, and I'm glad we had the experiment, but it failed, and now we're going to go back to, you can still be eligible if we have a bona fide change of residence. They grant 60, 70, 80% of the variances or hardship requests they get. SSAC acts in good faith, in my view, and I've interacted with them and sued them. And so, yes, I think we'll have a bill.
And look, if you don't like the rule can be changed. Call your principals, call your superintendents, call your ADs. They're the ones who are going to ultimately, if the repeal goes through and the SSAC, the way their process works, it's kind of the same work as the legislation. If you don't like it, call them and let them know.
Leave the politicians out of high school sports.
I'd like to leave politicians out of a lot of things, Mike.
Hey, amen, brother. I agree. I think most West Virginians would agree with that.
Talking to Mike Woelfel, Cabell County delegate. Anything simmering under the surface that could rear up in the next couple of days? That happens in the last few days of the session.
It does. Without getting into the weeds too much, I can't foresee right now what will happen, but there's still a lot of time left, 96 hours or whatever it is. So, yeah, there'll be some things happen that are surprises, and there is a lot of good legislation floating around here, and there's a lot of bad legislation floating around. So let's hope that the good prevails and the bad passes away.
Opinions vary, but until I see better numbers, there's a $200 million plus hole when it comes to funding special education. It doesn't appear this legislature is going to act on that. As a guy who won't be here next time, you can say what you want, my friend. You have carte blanche. How bad is it that we're missing dealing with that issue?
West Virginia has, and of course, in my area, Cabell County, I believe 25% of our students through testing have been identified as having special needs. That costs more money. West Virginia has the 5th highest rate of special needs students. So it's a huge failure on our part, mine, everyone else, that we haven't addressed that. And I would call on the governor again, call on him to call a special session, bring us in here. You're going to have to spend some money because these counties are drowning. And it's not just Hancock, it's pervasive. So I really think we failed those students and we failed their families. And it's an election year, and, come in after May. Come in June. And let's go really work on this in the school funding formula. And let's spend some money. And, Hope Scholarship I never thought I'd see the day where the Senate Finance Chair boasted about $300 million being expended for school vouchers. And that's fine, but you can't forget the 94 or 95% of our students that are in regular, in public schools.
I'm trying to figure out how I want to phrase this because it's more of a statement than a question. School choice, all for it. But those numbers you can't ignore. 94, 95% of the students in West Virginia are going to go to public schools. You may not like public school. Whatever you feel behind the scenes, you have to address these issues. And it has to start with special education because you say there's a huge hole there. It has to go toward, and we have to have some hard conversations when it comes to public education. Mike, that I don't know if we're willing to have them. TJ brings up consolidations a lot. We don't like it, but numbers are what the numbers are. There's some hard questions and hard conversations we have to have with public education, but we have to invest in it.
All right, I completely agree, and I love your enthusiasm on that because you're righteous when you say it, but let me tell you how it's going to end if we don't address it. I'm old enough to remember the Lincoln County case when a judge from the Wheeling area took on litigation.
You're talking about Recht?
Yes, Judge Arthur Recht, Art Recht. And what happened, just in a short version, is that, constitutional right to all our children to a thorough education in our state constitution. children are being denied that. Somebody files a lawsuit, and the court will settle this as it did back in the 80s. So we don't want that. We need to be proactive and deal with it here as we should, but it'll be dealt with one way or the other because these children have a constitutional right to an education that's thorough.
But if this is a tough vote, we talked about this, I believe, on Monday. I brought up a hypothetical. I'm going to pose it to you as well. Is part of this delay, and I don't want to be too Machiavellian, but is part of this delay waiting for the inevitable to happen and the economics to take over and for some of these systems just to flat not be able to afford anything, and so it forces consolidation, it forces discussion on the 55 counties and brings them together, and the economics are to blame, and whether it's local boards of education, whether it's lawmakers, they get a pass because, look, the numbers are the numbers. It finally happened. You're broke. We got to do something.
That's a great theory. That could very well be the case. I personally feel like the homeschool parents, whom I respect, a lot of great homeschool parents out there, with a closed Republican primary, I believe like they have a lot of sway over what happens in this Capitol. And so that's one of the problems, and that'll continue. But yeah, we're set up to fail. These school systems are going to fall like dominoes. They just are. They can't sustain what they're doing now.
He is Cabell County Senator Mike Woelfel. Stood around the set just a little bit too long today. Hey, appreciate you stopping by on short notice. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Senator Amy Grady joins us next. Talkline from the AARP broadcast location.
Hospitals drive West Virginia's economy. They produce jobs and create opportunities while keeping our communities healthy. Employing nearly 54,000 people, West Virginia hospitals rank among our state's largest and most dependable employers. They provide more than $1 billion in community benefits and generate nearly $17 billion in total economic impact each year. Hospitals are investing where it counts, advancing health, ensuring access to care, and powering West Virginia's economic future.
A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association, online at WVHA.org.
At Glenville State University, we are pioneers. With over 45 undergraduate degree programs, 17 NCAA athletic teams, and countless campus organizations and activities, we're here to help you build your story while becoming a part of ours. Glenville State University, your dream, your future, your story. Visit glenville.edu today for more information.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
If you have a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or know someone that does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd. For details, go to WVMetroNews.com to apply. That's WVMetroNews.com. Remember, application deadline is May 3rd.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Hardwood Heat meets the Mountain State in Charleston. The 2026 West Virginia Girls High School Basketball State Championships, presented by Chick-fil-A. Saturday, March 14th. Every possession, every roar of the crowd, every championship moment live on Metro News Television, powered by GoMart. Watch on mobile, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, LG TV, and select Samsung Smart TVs. Details at WVMetroNewsTV.com to get in the action.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
When I was heavy, being on my feet all day seemed like torture. It makes you feel defeated. I'm just going to be like this for the rest of my life. But then I thought, I'm done acting like that. I'm not going to be like that anymore. Bariatric surgery at WVU Medicine helped me lose 265 pounds. It's always been my goal to have my own place. I want everyone to feel welcome here. I would never have been able to do all these things before without WVU Medicine.
On the next State of Minds.
I came here to Morgantown, to WVU. I wanted to play football. Tried to walk on, but I was humbled very quickly. So I joined the WVU forestry team. What my father taught me was the importance of hard work and the importance of sweat equity.
We're just sitting here having a conversation, enjoying the day, and look down at the monitor and go, oh, we're back. Talkline for the ARP broadcast location. When it comes to cybersecurity, blind trust is a bad idea. CityNet helps businesses avoid risky connections with proactive monitoring, threat detection, and expert local support. Learn more at citynet.net today. Senate Education Committee Chair Amy Grady joining us here at the ARP broadcast location. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, gentlemen.
What is the topic du jour in Senate Education?
Well, today we were talking about truancy / chronic absenteeism, how those are not one and the same, trying to address that in multiple ways. So we have a bill that came across from the House that is supposed to take out truancy as a status offense, which has a negative connotation around it, and to try to provide services to families and children on an individualized basis. So let's say that they refer that as a child in need of supervision. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a 7-year-old who comes to school at 10 o'clock every day. Clearly, that is not a truant issue, but that's a problem because the parents aren't getting up out of bed to bring them to school. And so that child's missing 2 hours of instruction every day. That would have DHS provide wraparound services. Families can say we don't want those prior to the court getting involved. Or say you have a 16-year-old who misses 2 days of school a week because he won't get out of bed and drive himself to school or get on the bus. Then the courts could step in and do something different for that child. Right now, we can already do a lot of the things that are in the bill. DHS provides wraparound services, although I'm hearing from the attendance directors that they can provide them, but they don't have the manpower to do it. So we're still answering some questions regarding that bill on how this changes things more positively, how it's going to affect more kids, and what we're doing differently with this bill than we already are doing. We had to report the bill out without recommendation for right now so we could keep things moving because we have a large agenda on the floor today, and we'll go back in today, tomorrow. I don't know. I feel like Education Committee is like judiciary right now. We might be in there for 4 hours. Who knows?
Oh, I'm just going to cut right through it. I don't care what you call it. Truancy's truancy. I mean, if you're not in school, you're not in school. I mean, I don't know why we have to make it feel good. I think it should have a negative connotation.
I'll tell you, as a teacher, it doesn't matter. I always have this love-hate relationship with these excused absences and unexcused absences. Because if your butt's not in that seat, you're not learning, right? And so every kid, it does affect differently. You have kids who come from families that value education and will help that child to be caught up. But then you have families who, don't ever do any schoolwork at home. And so, but if that child's butt is not in the seat, there is something they're missing, regardless if it's an excused absence or not. It's still an absence. Senator
Amy Grady joining us. School aid formula bill, is it going to make it to the Senate floor?
It's going to make it in some shape, form, or fashion. I'm not exactly sure what that'll look like. I've talked with the Senate Finance Chair about it. I know the primary focus is going to be the special education students. there's not really an interest in our caucus to move forward with the bill that starts in 2930 where it changes the entire formula. So what that looks like is probably just going to be the special education students funding them. We're looking at doing a supplemental possibly to fund the Tier 2 and Tier 3 students this year, and then look ahead at maybe next year wrapping in those Tier 1 students. So it's not everything we need, but it's something.
Most of the students are Tier 1, is that correct?
Most of them are Tier 1, but those Tier 1 students don't require as many extra resources. So, Tier 1 students spend most of their time in the general education classroom. They have an IEP, and they do require, some extra learning resources or some extra time on things that the general education teacher can help provide. Those Tier 2 and Tier 3 students, which is about 5,000 kids total. Those are the ones who may require a one-on-one aid. They might require additional actual educational materials or resources that you have to buy. And so those are the highest cost, and that's what we're trying to address to begin with.
Talking to Senator Amy Grady, could we see another attempt at Rayleigh's Law before the end of the session?
We have 3 days left, Dave. So
it's a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. I don't know how we could, but I'm not giving up on it yet. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Have you followed Bailey's Law at all?
I have, yes.
I was happy to see that got on the agenda today.
Me too, absolutely. I'll tell you, my husband actually played many years of softball with Bailey's father. And so, we've talked with the family and we've talked with friends that are mutual friends, and that has been a concern. I don't know the reason that hasn't been on the agenda, because I've talked to the Judiciary Chair to ask him to consider it, and he's always said, I'm considering it. And, I know he's got a lot of bills to look at. I do get that. So when I saw it on the agenda today, I was really excited about it, too. I hate that it's at the bottom of the list because there are like 18. But, I think they'll be in until about 9 o'clock tonight.
I was going to say, you don't have to keep banker's hours here. You can go till 2 in the morning if you need to.
I can remember being on Judiciary the 2 years that I served. I learned a lot, but Charlie Trump was the Judiciary Chair, and I can remember being there at midnight one night. It was over that 50-50 parenting bill, and sending a screenshot, like a selfie to my friend saying, please send snacks, because we had been in there for like 4 hours. It was awful.
I asked Mike Woelfel this question. I'll ask you, anything simmering under the surface that could pop up the next couple of days and just throw everything off the rails?
Simmering under the surface. Can be more specific, because
you would. That's why I'm asking you. You're the one that because
I don't typically let things simmer, Dave. If I'm feeling a certain way, I let people know. You're asking the wrong person, to be honest with you. I've had some concerns about some things, but I've voiced those. So if there's anything that pops up, it's going to surprise me as much as it surprises you.
E-Verify is hot right now. You have a take on that?
Thank goodness I'm not on Judiciary. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's a difficult one. I can see I understand why we're considering that, but I think from what I understand about it, I think it's going to be really hard for small businesses. It can be a lot of extra work.
It's going to be hard on me, Amy, because the way it's been explained to me, I have 3 different young people that babysit for me. I have a guy that mows the grass for me. If I don't do an E-Verify on them, I'm going to owe like $2,000, or could if somebody wants to take me to court.
Those are good examples. And I know there was a subcommittee this morning. I don't know how that came out. And the reason I know that is because some of us were supposed to go to breakfast this morning at Courier Street Diner, and
they're still working, I'm told.
A couple of them were on that subcommittee. So, I'm kind of mad that bumped my breakfast out of the way, but that's what's simmering there, Dave. I'm mad about missing breakfast today.
I understand. I completely understand. About 20 seconds here quickly. Yeah. The transfer rule bill got out of your committee. It's going to be on the Senate floor. Clean bill. Do you expect amendments? What do you expect with that today?
I was really surprised that it came out of committee the way it did.
Me too.
It shocked me. I thought we would have amendments. I kind of left that open. I said whatever happens, happens, and it was unanimous. There were no nay votes. So I'm sure there will be amendments. It's a little harder to amend a repeal bill. Because you're repealing something. I hope that there aren't, to be honest. I think we should give the SSAC their day to say, hey, this is what we're going to work on. They've told us they're going to work on something, make it better. We fired a shot and said, hey, if you don't take care of it, we'll bring it back. But it's not working. So I think a full repeal is what we need.
Senate Education Committee Chair Amy Grady. Day, what did we decide? It's 57?
Yes, 57.
I heard it's ice cream day here in the building, too, by the way.
Where is that?
Well,
what
we'll
I
find
asked.
it.
Well, when you find it, you text me.
I'll let you know. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it, as always.
Yeah, thank you,
We'll
Beth.
see if we can track down Brad McElhinny. He's been up in the House Finance Committee meeting this morning. He may still be there. We'll try to get an update. We'll get some of your texts as well. This is Talkline on Metro News. We are at the AARP broadcast location. We'll be here again tomorrow before things wrap up on the weekend. This is Talkline on Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Metro News, I'm Jeff Jenkins. An investigation continues in Marion County where a 2-year-old girl was struck by a vehicle Tuesday. She later died at Ruby Memorial Hospital, Morgantown. The collision occurred on Havana Street in Farmington a little after 4 Tuesday afternoon. A federal appeals court has weighed in on a challenge involving medical coverage through the state's Medicaid program.
The Fourth Circuit of Appeals has ruled that West Virginia Medicaid can exclude coverage for gender-affirming surgeries. In a decision announced Tuesday, the court reversed a lower court ruling in the case Anderson v. Crouch. Judges said the state's policy does not violate the Equal Protection Clause, the Affordable Care Act, or the Medicaid Act. The lawsuit challenged West Virginia's decision not to reimburse Medicaid patients for surgical procedures used to treat gender dysphoria. The case was sent back to the appeals court after the U.S. Supreme Court issued its ruling in United States v. Scrimeti, which upheld states' authority to make policy decisions about certain medical treatments. I'm Morgan Pemberton, WVMetroNews.com.
State Division of Highways war on potholes continues today. DOA spokesman Brent Walker says they're on the busiest roads first.
We have to prioritize just like we would with plow and treating. We'll go to our U.S. routes, our interstates, our high traffic routes.
Today's list includes pothole patching on State Route 10 in Logan County, U.S. Route 52 Mingo County, U.S. Route 60 Wayne County. You're listening to Metro News for 40 years, the voice of West Virginia.
If you have a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or know someone that does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd. For details, go to WVMetroNews.com to apply. That's WVMetroNews.com. Remember, application deadline is May 3rd.
How tough are you? It's the 33rd Annual Parsons Ford Tough Man Contest, co-sponsored by Extremely Family Fitness, Miller Lite, Coors Light, and Lush Gentlemen's Club, the exclusive Ring Girl sponsor, coming March 20th and 21st to the Berkeley Rec Center in Martinsburg. Sign up to fight, buy tickets, or buy the live pay-per-view broadcast at WVToughman.com. That's WVToughman.com. Wimps need not apply.
It's possible 2 bills closely watched by Governor Patrick Morrisey get out of the House Finance Committee today. Senate passed bills reducing the state's income tax and allowing for the state to draw down $199 million in federal funds for rural health care. Morrisey was aggravated Tuesday in the delay of the drawdown bill.
Now, I think it's outrageous that here we are at the end of session and something that should have happened in the first week hasn't occurred yet. Terrible on every level.
Both bills on that committee agenda today. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Jeff Jenkins.
Text line is 304-TALK-304. We'll get some text. Brad is trapped in House Finance at the moment. We'll hopefully get an update with him. Weather's, let me see, look out the door. It's beautiful right at the moment. It's not going to be later today, by the way. Actually, tornado watches across much West Virginia. Big line of severe weather pushing our way. Then I heard the temperature's going to drop. That's great.
Yeah,
but
it's going to be nasty weather.
You know what you can do while you're inside and it's raining and it's not nice to be outside?
What's that?
You can be checking out the inventory at LewinnaMarineSales.com, and then you will be ready. When the weather breaks, the sun is shining, and you want to get out on a pontoon boat or take the bass boat out, well, you'll be prepared because you checked out LewinnaMarineSales.com. Lewinna Marine Sales. We sell family fun. TJ, are you serious? Asks the texter. Your babysitters are independent contractors, not employees. You are easily manipulated into parroting obvious false propaganda about E-Verify. How many folks like you have been dragged into court in Florida on their mandatory E-Verify law? Stop being ignorant, dude.
Well, then make it clear in the bill. I listened to the debate yesterday. It did not appear to be clear in the bill.
I don't know what the law is in Florida, but I do know what this bill says. This proposed bill is before the committee, and it's not clear. And the general counsel, while asking questions in that committee meeting, said, yeah. When he was asked he or she was asked point blank, could my babysitter, could I be liable here? Yeah, you could be held under that. That's the problem with the bill. It's not specific enough. It's not, I don't think anybody, there are questions again about the restrictions that in the imposition on small business, and that's a discussion, certainly. I don't think there's anybody in this building that is advocating hiring illegal immigrants, for that matter. But, as Ryan Weld said with this bill in particular, you can't have a confusing bill with circular logic, circular reasoning in it that opens up the door for these types of interpretations. That at the minimum has to be cleaned up.
I think the other problem here is those who have generated this bill at the core, they've never met a payroll.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never had a small business, and I have, where you have, 10, 15 employees, something like that, you're doing, a couple $100,000 a year in revenue, $1 million in revenue, by the time you pay yourself, you're lucky to do that, pay yourself. By the time you cover everything, you're doing your books, you're trying to do all the HR stuff, you're trying to comply with everything that's already out there, and you're not paying attention to what goes on in this building every day because, again, you're trying to make payroll. And this pops up, and then you get a fine with it. It's just anti-business. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's anti-business. And the federal government's already doing it. I don't need the state to do it as well. I don't need one more thing as a business owner I have to do. And it's just one more reason why someone doesn't want to become an entrepreneur.
It doesn't align. I don't think it aligns philosophically with Governor Morrissey's push to reduce regulations, cut the red tape, make it easier to do. But this and look, I've never been a business owner. Don't want to be a business owner. I'd rather just trust the guy I work for.
Sure.
That the check is going to clear every 2 weeks. But if you are, this is one more thing you have to do. This isn't cutting red tape. This is adding regulation. This is making it harder to operate a small business from a layperson's perspective.
Yeah. Well, you know how I've been very blunt about it. It needs to die. It needs to die.
Well, as I told one person this morning, the more you work on it, the worse it may get, and that may end up sealing its fate before it ever gets to the Senate. Wow, you two are naive if you think companies are not deliberately hiring illegals. In fact, in the restaurant industry, it's become quasi-human trafficking, insists the texter. This one just says, oh, you totally know. I'm so saying it. Okay. 304 Talk 304. Senate Bill 420 has nothing to do with lowering electric rates. It is solely to burn more coal. But we've seen this before. EPCO customers were billed an extra $80 million last year when the John Amos plant was forced to burn more coal, even when they could not compete. Real Republicans do not force government mandates onto customers. Let consumers buy the cheapest, cleanest, fastest sources of electricity. Don't make us pay to bail out special interests, says the texter. 304 Talk 304. Maybe the legislature should have put in a few weekends to get things done. I think the Senate did one Saturday session this year.
Nothing's stopping them.
No, those are days, right?
Those are days. Absolutely, they're days. Look, man, you can and you can work from one day to the next. There's nothing that says, hey, committees have to stop at midnight. I've seen them go till 2 and 3 in the morning. Now, the argument is they're not very transparent when they do that.
True.
But when you're down to a time crunch, you do what you got to do.
304 Talk 304. President Trump did not like E-Verify. That sunk the immigration bill in 2019, says the texter. 304 Talk 304 is the text line. Brad McElhinny is up in the House Finance Committee meeting. They were taking up the governor's tax cut proposal. Just a couple of updates. Brad has been tweeting. They do let him tweet in the committee meetings.
Yes.
There was strike and insert? Committee sub, I beg your pardon. Committee sub, which we expected, reworking that bill to be a 5% income tax reduction, which is already factored into the budget that is sitting with the governor as we speak. Speaking of days, we're waiting for the governor to act on that budget, and we've been trying to figure out when did the clock start and which days count as days in that matter. We think Thursday close of business is the deadline to get that either signed or uses line item veto power.
And they're not going to run his tax bill, even at this 5%. They're not going to run that until they get the budget back. The way it has been framed to me, as I talk to folks that are in the inner circle, is that they'll give the governor the 5%. That, of course, comes from the reduction in revenue estimates that the governor placed into his annual revenue estimate calculations for the year. That's where the 5% comes from. That will go through. Right now we're seeing various amendments to the bill, mostly by Democrats. I think it was Hornbuckle just tried to add on a $350 tax credit around child care, something to that extent. So they'll go through that process. None of that will make it. It'll go to the House floor. If the governor comes back with a bunch of line item vetoes, I don't think it's beyond the pale that they reduce the 5%, because what have we been talking about? Roads. And an extra $125 million at the back of the budget. I think right now there's $100 million in surplus that they're figuring on roads. Who would oppose 225?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody for that
matter. Again, this strategy I think is effective. I've characterized it as, we're going to give you rope. What are you going to do with it? Will the governor take the win?
He needs to. And go back to when Governor Justice was proposing the tax cut. Oh, what year was that, TJ? It was the additional tax. So this was after the big tax bill had gotten passed.
Yeah, a few years back.
And what, he asked for 5 and he got 2?
I believe that's the math is right on that.
And then he took the win.
He took the win.
He went out and told everybody, look what I did. And took the win. I think Governor Morrissey could take the win. Hey, nobody was talking about it before the session, right? Nobody was talking about a personal income tax reduction. He could go out and say, hey, and you could even package that with the one big beautiful bill, because there's an additional, what we figure, $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
President Trump and I have cut your taxes $225 million in West Virginia. You can go on the road with that. It's a win for him.
Yeah, the optics on that would not be bad.
Sure.
Would not be bad. Take the win. You know, maybe improve your relationship with the legislature. That's the other part of this we haven't talked about. This is really year 2 of the governor not being able to communicate effectively and have an effective relationship with the legislature. Not all of it, but for the most part, there's still that tension there between the two bodies, and there'll always be some. That's by design.
Sure.
But there have been many governors that had much better relationships with the legislature than what this particular governor does. That's just the way it is.
304 Talk 304 is the text line. We'll get to some of your thoughts coming up in just a moment. AARP is your ally for real possibilities in the Mountain State. Connect on social media at AARP West Virginia. Learn more at aarp.org/WV. Just quickly, also want to thank AARP. Just in case we forget tomorrow. Tomorrow is actually going to be our last day at the Capitol. We're going to keep an eye on the Capitol, obviously, but tomorrow will be our last day on site. Big thanks to them. Proud to partner with them once again so we could be here throughout the session, all session long, and we're almost to the end. But again, big thanks to AARP for their continued support. All right, got to take a break. Back in a moment. This is Talkline from the AARP broadcast location.
Located in the heart of West Virginia, Bridgeport is the place to play. Endless indoor and outdoor recreation opportunities, including the Bridgeport Complex, coupled with a dynamic food scene, make Bridgeport the perfect getaway destination for couples and families. Explore unique shopping and pick from a wealth of lodging options to find something perfect for your needs. Explore the heart of West Virginia in Bridgeport. Learn more about all there is to do at greater-bridgeport.com.
Since 1926, the West Virginia Hospital Association has been the collective voice of our state's hospitals. With a shared vision of strengthening communities, improving lives, and supporting our state's economic well-being, our member hospitals work every day to provide high-quality, accessible care. This year, we celebrate 100 years of a unified voice and our ongoing commitment to supporting our members in achieving a strong, healthy West Virginia.
A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association, online at WVHA.org.
Worried about paying for college? MetroNews is proud to present the 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program, where one high school junior in West Virginia will win a full scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan College, including room, board, tuition, and fees. For details, go to WVMetroNews.com and click the Apply Now button. Deadline is May 3rd. The 2026 West Virginia Scholar Program, presented by Greer Industries and the West Virginia Hospital Association. Go to WVMetroNews.com and apply today by May 3rd.
Welcome back, class of 2011.
most likely to be a millionaire, didn't quite make it. Hey, reunion's not over yet.
Over here, millionaire, smile.
Make room, people.
Who is that?
Congratulations to our very own Millionaire for Life!
Never too late, man.
You could win up to $1 million every year with Millionaire for Life. Play in store or online today. West Virginia Lottery. 18 plus to play. Play responsibly.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
West Virginia Natural Gas keeps energy affordable and our state competitive for growth. Producing and using more of our reliable, homegrown energy helps stabilize prices for families and small businesses. Natural gas already supports more than 73,000 West Virginia jobs and generates billions for our economy. Investing in West Virginia natural gas means affordability, growth, and a stronger nation. Natural gas, affordable, reliable, American.
This message is brought to you by the Gas and Oil Association of West Virginia.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Across West Virginia, hospitals are always here, healing, helping, and standing strong for our communities. Hospitals save lives and build livelihoods. They're among our largest employers, with a passionate workforce of 54,000 West Virginians. Hospitals are economic drivers, contributing close to $17 billion to our state's economy and working to ensure access to care for all. From life-saving moments to wellness support, West Virginia hospitals keep our state healthy, our families strong, and our future bright.
It's the late nights. It's the early mornings. It's working in the sunshine and rain and snow. It's the dedication, the care, the hours of training that led to the winner's circle. It's our job, our passion, our lives. We are the horsemen.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
With Metro News Hotline. If it's trending, it's probably here.
So it's Dennis, it's Rodman degrees out there today.
Oh, that sounds really uncomfortable.
I know it does. I know it does.
Is that legal? Is that past FCC? I don't know if you're allowed to say anything's Rodman something. That's
it's Rodman degrees.
That's like saying it's awful Diddy out there. I don't know that we can do that.
Yeah. Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on Metro News Television.
MetroNews Talkline is presented by Encova Insurance, encircling you with coverage to protect what you care about most. Visit Encova.com to learn more.
Back at the AARP broadcast location, the WVU Institute is transforming cancer care in West Virginia and beyond. The state's top doctors deliver compassionate care and treatment using leading-edge technology and innovative research for patients facing colorectal cancer. From screening and early detection to advanced treatment and survivorship support, we're here for you every step of the way. Call 855-WVU-CARE. It is Fairs and Festivals Day here in the Capitol on the Senate side of the building. Got a lot of students in the building today as well.
Yeah.
Observing the legislative process.
Well, that kid has a built Ford Tough one. I bet you love that.
Well.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
You know. They have detention for a reason. 304 Talk 304. Texter says, thanks a lot to Delegate Clay Riley for killing Senate Bill 625. There are folks who don't have clean water because of people like him and big companies like Thrasher Group. I'm a little upset with Bill Anderson, chair of the House Energy Committee, for allowing this foolishness. Is that the bill that came up and they wanted to suspend rules? And
it may be the Southern West Virginia Water Fund. I'll have to look and go back. But I was told there was $75 million in the budget for water.
I was told the same thing. 3 or 4. That's all I got. There are a lot of things going on. It's hard to keep track of all of them.
Yes.
Again, anti-business, says the texter. Hear this, West Virginia. It is anti-business to require employers to use a simple online portal to verify the legal status of an employee. It takes about 30 minutes to watch the E-Verify training video. But this is all about anti-business and more red tape, just like anti-business Florida, where Mar-a-Lago resides. Don't be misled by these mouthpieces. Mouthpiece? Anything?
I've said my piece on it. I maintain my stance.
Again, and I'll go back to this aspect of it, and I agree with Ryan Weld. The bill is confusing. The E-Verify bill, forget about the intent, forget about the reasoning. It's a bad bill. It's a bad bill because it's vague and confusing for any number of reasons. It can't even define employer in a succinct way. It's a bad bill.
So to your point, let's just game that out. Are we even talking about this if it was properly crafted? Maybe not.
Maybe not. You're absolutely right. Maybe if it was a properly crafted bill, maybe businesses go, we don't like it, but it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
304 Talk 304. The way you guys think about making sure language in E-Verify is clean and not ambiguous is exactly the reason homeschool families oppose so many bills that may or may not affect them. All right, fair point. Although, if you want to get into specifics, specifically Rayleigh's law, if we're going to go there, we'll go there. I think that is a very specifically tailored bill to avoid the unintended consequences that we've talked about with E-Verify.
It's surgical.
Very surgical.
Surgical.
But to the texter's point, I understand
Fair
exactly
point.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
The state should pass E-Verify even if the feds require it, because when the Democrats control all levels of federal government, well, they actually prosecute the offenders. Remember, the Biden administration allowed tens of millions to cross the border unfettered, says the texter. There's Stephen Allen Adams. Is that a good sign for Brad McElhinny?
Maybe.
Or did Stephen A. just say, you know what?
He's had enough?
He may have.
So I'm trying to follow and listen in. They were back to all the amendments to the amendment had been dispensed with, and now they were back to vape and whether or not to include the vape. And there was argument being made at the time. I couldn't make out the voice, but the argument was it's illogical to cut taxes, cut the income tax, but at the same time place another tax in the same bill on a group of citizens. It sounded very much like an argument we shouldn't be taxing vape. My 2 cents, and I think you're where I am, it's an equity issue. If we're going to tax cigarettes and not taxing cigarettes or tobacco is not on the table, how can you not tax vape? It's an equity issue. I don't see how you can do that.
Let it be known, on Wednesday, 11:52, we finally got a text. Hey, fellas, just want to point out that it was pitch black at the bus stop this morning at 6:30. This time last week, we were watching the sunrise. I hate this time change BS. Mad face emoji.
I can't go there. I mean, I'm sorry, folks. I love each of you. I respect your opinion. There is something wrong in America when it is pitch black at 5:30 to 5:45 in the afternoon after you work. Who would enjoy that? I mean, I just can't take it. But they do need to leave it alone. Pick one and leave it alone.
The West Virginia Lottery is coming to a town near you with Back to Roots promotion tour. 40 stops means 40 chances to win. Every $5 in-store purchase gets you an entry for a chance to win cash and great prizes. So put on your best 80s gear and join the tour. Visit WVLottery.com for details. 18 plus to play. Please play responsibly. Back to wrap it up from the Upper Rotunda after this.
Tens of thousands of hardworking West Virginians earn their living in our state's growing natural gas industry, including thousands for Antero Resources, West Virginia's top natural gas producer. Antero's investments are boosting our local workforce and small businesses. We're proud to give back and invest locally to support West Virginia workers producing West Virginia energy. But the Mountain State's best days are ahead, and Antero Resources is just getting started. Visit AnteroResources.com to learn more.
WVU Medicine Nephrology is committed to providing advanced kidney care at its primary location in Morgantown's Suncrest Town Center, and also at outreach sites in Buchanan, Clarksburg, Elkins, Fairmont, Flatwoods, Grafton, Kaiser, Moorfield, and Summersville in West Virginia, and Oakland, Maryland. Our expert team of nephrologists use the latest diagnosis and treatment methods. Call 855-WVU-CARE or visit wvumedicine.org/nephrology.
Hospitals drive West Virginia's economy. They produce jobs and create opportunities while keeping our communities healthy. Employing nearly 54,000 people, West Virginia hospitals rank among our state's largest and most dependable employers. They provide more than $1 billion in community benefits and generate nearly $17 billion in total economic impact each year. Hospitals are investing where it counts, advancing health, ensuring access to care, and powering West Virginia's economic future.
A message from the West Virginia Hospital Association, online at wvaj.org.
Coal-based generation remains the backbone of West Virginia's energy portfolio, ensuring reliability, security, and affordable electricity throughout the region. Our coal plants are engineered for performance, designed to run most efficiently at or near a 70% capacity factor. This level of operation is not arbitrary. It's based on sound engineering principles, scientific analysis, and has been formally adopted by the West Virginia Legislature as a reasonable target for optimal performance. When our coal fleet operates near that benchmark, it provides stable power to the grid, maintains cost efficiency, and supports thousands of good-paying jobs across our state. Coal generation also drives local tax revenue that sustains schools, infrastructure, and community services. Working in partnership with state leaders and the Trump administration, we're ensuring that our coal fleet remains modern, efficient, and ready to power West Virginia and beyond for decades to come. This message brought to you by the West Virginia Coal Association and Friends of Coal.
Golf Week called Pete Dye Golf Club one of America's best modern courses. Golf Digest recently called Pete Dye one of America's 100 greatest courses, and Pete Dye calls it 18 of the most exciting and memorable holes I've ever built on one course. Pete Dye Golf Club invites you to join the only course named after the legendary designer himself. National, corporate, and local memberships available now for a limited time. Visit PeteDye.com to learn more. Come play where the Mountaineers play at Pete Dye Golf Club.
You're listening to Talkline on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Start your new year
WVMetroNews.com, the only website.
Come explore our 2026 GMC Acadias. Spacious, smooth, and made for everyday life. It's truly a fan favorite. Drive into winter with a new 2026 GMC Sierra, now up to $12,000 off, or lease as low as $499 a month. So upgrade your ride this year with us at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop Thora.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Touchdown! We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
It all comes down to this in Charleston. The 2026 West Virginia Boys High School Basketball State Championships presented by Chick-fil-A. Saturday, March 21st. Every possession, every roar of the crowd, every championship moment. Live on Metro News Television, powered by GoMart. Watch on mobile, Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, LG TV, and select Samsung Smart TVs. Details at WVMetroNewsTV.com to get in the action.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong.
Worried about paying for college? Metro News is proud to present the 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program, where one high school junior is going to win a full scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan College. For details, go to WVMetroNews.com. Click the Apply Now button. Deadline is May 3rd. The West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by Greer Industries and the West Virginia Hospital Association. Go to WVMetroNews.com to apply. Today, again, the deadline is May 3rd. Our deadline is tomorrow. Our final day at the Capitol coming up tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll hear from one of the Finance Committee members, possibly the Finance Committee chair tomorrow on the program.
Outstanding.
At least that is the message that's been sent to the House. We'll see if they concur on the changes. We'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Talkline of Metro News, voice of West Virginia.